heads when they decide who to vote for, she says. It's who is fighting for me and who has solutions for the American people. She's still the person who is most likely to be the next president. I hate to tell you, I care about whether she's honest. I care about whether she's trustworthy. I care about all of those things.
That's right.
I am shocked, speechless, that Palmieri does not believe that that matters to voters, that she thinks that's not in our heads when we walk in there to vote.
Well, here's the thing. And I'm going to say this right now. If Joe Biden decides to run, he'll get the nomination.
I think he will.
Which I would be very grateful for. I'd be thrilled to see Joe Biden get the nomination because he is a walking blooper reel.
Yes, he is.
He shoots from the lip and has no filter whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm but I'm telling you, if he decides to take the plunge, he's gonna steal the nomination away from her.
Well, I will say one thing about Joe Biden. I agree with you. He shoots from the lip, and he is a walking blooper reel, exactly like you said. But I really believed in the last presidential campaign that Paul Ryan would mop the floor with him during their debate.
Yes.
And Joe Biden did a great job against Paul Ryan.
He did. He certainly did.
So we can't count Joe Biden out because he's got an awful lot of political savvy under his belt.
He certainly does. He's 72 years old, and he's been a political person for most of his life.
And he will be 74 by the time the election rolls around.
Yes, that's right. But Ronald Reagan was an old man when he was elected as well.
That's exactly right.
And age, either youth or older age, doesn't really poison me one way or the other. Now, don't get me wrong; I'm not a Biden supporter, but actually, truth be told, as far as the Democratic Party is concerned, if they want to run someone that really has a chance, I think it's going to be Biden. I think Hillary has too much baggage that is not going to allow her to win this election, and there are a lot of people that disagree with me.
She has heavy baggage, though, Steve. Not just baggage. I mean, lots of folks have baggage. She has heavy baggage. Mark Gittenstein, a long-time top aide of Joe Biden, said, "I personally think he's the most qualified person of anybody that's running. He's been in the middle of every decision of the Obama presidency, and if he were elected, he would have more experience in dealing with the Hill than anybody in history, including Lyndon Johnson." But he said, "I don't think he's made up his mind. It's a tough time to be making a decision like this." And that's exactly right. I mean, he's still dealing with the death of his son, Beau.
2 months ago, just 2 months ago.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
He and his wife are reportedly in South Carolina right now on vacation, trying to determine whether he's going to run or not. I think they will come back from that vacation and he will announce that he's running.
I think you're probably right about that.
Because he could have stopped all of this long ago. Anytime between the time of his son's death and now, he could have stopped this, but he hasn't. And so I really think that he's probably going to run. And if he does,
and Beau wanted him to run.
Yes, that's right. And that would be a difficult thing for me as a father to deal with, knowing that my son wanted me to run and my son's not here anymore.
Right.
That would be difficult. I would have to pay attention to that. And I honestly think that it's his nomination to have if he decides to run.
Right. But if Joe Biden does run, I mean, I'm just going to say we're going to have Bill Clinton all over again. I mean, in more ways than one. But the thing is, I mean, he's a carbon copy of President Obama. I mean, 8 years of Obama hasn't done the nation any good. So why keep that carbon copy and keep going off of it?
Listen,
Well,
listen.
I didn't say he was going to win.
Well, no,
Nobody
That's
said
right.
he would win.
right. No, but
I'm
I'm just looking at it from the left's point of view because a lot of people on the
Oh,
left,
but the left love Obama. The far
no,
left
they don't.
adore Obama.
Okay, maybe the far social left, okay, the socialists do, but when you get into the moderate liberals and people like up here in Minnesota, as well as some in Midwest or whatever, also in the West Coast, um, they're not that far left. I mean, they're right in the middle. So, I mean,
sure.
and there's a lot of people on the Democratic side that think that Obama's presidency was and is a complete failure.
Well,
Absolutely.
here's the thing, and I've been thinking about this a lot the last couple of weeks, because I think both parties are in a crisis, and
Mm-hmm.
I think both parties are frustrated and aggravated. I'm talking about the rank and file members of those parties are frustrated and aggravated with their party because the Democratic Party has been hijacked by the absolute left wing of the party.
Absolutely.
And there are lots
Yeah.
of Democrats that are not part of that left wing, but are still Democrats. My grandparents were all Democrats, and they would not agree at all with the Democratic Party now, but they would never have been able to bring themselves not to vote for the Democratic Party because that's what they had always done. So you've got the Democratic Party that many people within that party are frustrated with the fact that the far left have hijacked the party. Then you've got people on the Republican side of the aisle, and I'm talking again about rank and file voters who are frustrated because the moderate wing, the rhino wing, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
has hijacked the Republican Party, and
Right.
so both parties have moved to the left, and that is, frankly, I think that is frustrating for both sides of the party or for both parties. And it's another reason why, by the way, I think Donald Trump has had such massive support
Popular
because
support. Right.
because people who are Democrat and Republican who are frustrated with what is going on with their party see in Donald Trump a guy who will stand up flat-footed and say whatever is on his mind,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and who is angry over what is going on in this country and has verbalized that quite articulately.
Right. And and the thing is, when we're looking at presidential elections, we have to look at the voter base. How are the voters going to swing? Now, this is according to Gallup poll here, as of between July 8th and 12th, 2015. Republicans were 23%, Independents 46%, and Democrats 28%. So there is a marginal percentage of independents out there.
Oh,
Oh, there's
yes. Absolutely.
the independent voters are going to be the swing voters in this next election. There's
Right.
no question about that.
Right.
And that makes someone like Donald Trump all the more attractive
Yes.
because if you want to really classify him, he is an independent. Um,
In the
he
truest sense of the word, he
that
can't be bought by either party because he could buy and sell both parties.
that's correct. And so he is an independent. It's one of the reasons why, frankly, I remember when he announced, and I thought this is going to be a clown show. Well,
Mm-hmm.
and in some ways it has been, but he has moved in a direction that I think has stunned everyone. And by the way, I read an article today that said, don't be surprised that the Democrats and Republicans don't like him because they are part of the establishment and they are not for someone who is not part of the establishment.
Right. Right.
And that's where Donald Trump is. Now, that will endear him to a lot of independent voters. So, the old saying, fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy ride. I think that's going to be true of this political season as we see what happens. And I think we're going to see people that everyone assumed were going to be at the pinnacle who are going to fall hard, i.e. Hillary Clinton.
Right. I agree.
I.e. Jeb Bush.
Yes, I think you're right about that as well.
I don't think either one of those candidates will be in the race 6 months from now. So well, we're going to have to stop here. We've got about 5 minutes left of the show. And as is our tradition, we always try to come up with some good news. And boy, the story we've got tonight is really something because it's kind of a 2-for-1. Lisa, tell us about it.
This is a great story. A server at a New Jersey diner picked up the tab for a pair of firefighters late last month when she overheard the two discuss how hungry they were after fighting a large warehouse fire for 12 hours without stopping to eat. The two men who had stopped at 130 Diner in Delran following a long day battling the New Brunswick blaze asked server Liz Woodward, 24, to bring them the largest cups of coffee she had. According to one of the firefighters who posted about what happened online, Woodward overheard them talking over breakfast. The server wrote Young and the other firefighter, Paul Hullings, a long note. It read, "Your breakfast is on me today. Thank you for all that you do, for serving others and running into places everyone else runs away from. No matter your role, you are courageous, brave, and strong. Thank you for being bold and bad every day. Fueled by fire and driven by courage, what an example you are. Get some rest." Young and Hullings were floored by the good deed. "Such a selfless and kind act," Young wrote on Facebook. "I definitely urge my friends to make a trip out and support the business, and if Liz happens to be your waitress, tip big." But the story didn't end there. Young soon learned that Woodward's father was quadriplegic and that she was trying to raise money to purchase him a wheelchair-accessible van. The firefighter knew he had to help. "Turns out the young lady who gave us a free meal is really the one that could use the help," he wrote online. Young provided a link to the 24-year-old's online fundraiser for her disabled dad. The fundraiser took off, and more than $68,000 has since been donated, far more than the initial $17,000 goal. Woodward was stunned. "All I did was pay for their breakfast, and I didn't think anything would come about it, except they would leave with a smile," she told WPVI-TV. "The message is to be kind to each other, to pay it forward when you can, that even the smallest gestures can change somebody's life." I should say so.
Well, that's one of the things that we try to point out every week, folks, at the end of our show. There are all kinds of crazy things that are happening in the world around us, from ISIS to political scandals to political campaigns to everything else we've talked about tonight and then some. But there are things that you can do to make a difference in your life, in the life of others. Excuse me, in the life of others around you. Now, this young lady, when she helped firefighters Young and Hullings, she had no idea what it would turn into. And yet when they did a little investigating on her, they found out that she needed help. And they didn't raise the money themselves. They just told the story. There are lots of people you can help. You don't have to come up with $17,000 or $68,000 as it ended up being. You don't have to come up with that out of your pocket, but there are lots of ways that you can help. And there are lots of people around you that just need a kind note, that need a hug, that need to be told, "I appreciate you and thank you for what you do." Well, that's our show for tonight. Don't forget, you can listen to our show anytime on Spreaker.com and on SoundCloud.com. You can listen to it live right here at WNLMradio.com/player or on TuneInRadio.com. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of your life tonight. Come back and see us next Saturday night right here on the DELOACH Approach. Good night, everybody.
Good night.